In fact, I don't think anyone should be writing anything off at the moment because the figures that are coming in are all over the place. There is no clear picture emerging, but some very interesting individual counts coming in from different seats. Kevin Foley?
Well, look, Kerry, the seat of Adelaide is a very big worry now to us. So my advice is, and I think Rob would concur, about 20% of the vote in. There is, I think, a plus 13% swing there, Rob, which really is quite a shock to us, and I hope that Jane can pull that back. Seat of Flory, which is one of those seats in the northeastern suburb, which we've been worried about. It would appear after 25% of the vote, the swing's only at 7.3, but that's still safe.
But you're on a margin of 12%.
Morialta, it appears now after 33% of the vote counted, a swing against Labor of some 15%, so that's going to be very hard to hold. But the shock seat, and Rob and I have just been sort of incredibly shocked by it, is the seat of Davenport held by Ian Evans. And you know, I don't mind saying Ian Evans, I have a high respect for Ian.
Now, this is a Liberal seat on a margin of 6.3%.
And there's a 15% swing after, I think, about 20% of the vote or something. So, you know, I can't even begin to understand that.
Rob, would you have any idea?
Look, I've got no direct information. I'd be very surprised at that. Ian is an assiduous campaigner in his local electorate, but we've seen some stunning figures from across the board. I guess possibly anything's possible, but I'd be very surprised at that particular. I'd be interested to know, I guess, which booths have been included. But it is,
but 25%.
According to the computer, it's 25% of the vote, which is not. It's a significant percentage of the vote. So,
well, I can also say Hartley appears after 20% of the vote, a very small swing away from Labor of 1.19.
And you've got that on 6.3?
5 or something, yeah. Grace Portalisi, one of our new and again very talented MPs. But again, that seat sort of locks in after Morialta. I don't know. Dean, you're the professor.
Well,
explain human behaviour.
I can explain one thing too, and that is that I have no explanation whatsoever for Davenport.
Well, next year...
I'll give you the figures.
Sorry, can I just say...
Nearly a quarter of the votes counted.
Hang on, Rob's got something coming in.
I just got something, and I'll place greater weight on that with the greatest respect to the ALP computer, to the ABC computer. Ian Evans has just texted me saying, from his viewpoint, all's good, and he's got a swing towards him. So he would probably have a better feel for his local
these figures are actually coming from the Electoral Commission.
Yeah, so. But he may well have other booths. What I'm saying is maybe those booths are showing a swing. He, at the local level, is a very assiduous campaigner, and if he's indicating that things are looking all right...
We'll put Davenport in a box.
Don't put it in the Labor. Don't put it in the Labor box.
And to be honest, I would agree. I'd concur with Rob's view. I'd be gobsmacked if we won that.
I cannot see how the Labor Party can win Davenport.
No,
I can't.
Not on this sort of thing. No.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. But
it's like Liberals winning Port Adelaide.
I'd stress that those are the figures. Those are the figures coming from the Electoral Commission. So the ABC hasn't yet worked out how to do its own count.
Yep.
Can we take a look at the seat of Mitchell? Now, this was Chris Hanna's seat. We looked at this a few minutes ago, but let's say we've got 10.4% of the vote counted now.
Well, with 10.4% of the vote counted, the first preference votes are Liberal 774, Chris Hanna very close indeed, 772. The Labor Party up there, it's a three-way race. And whoever wins this seat will win it on preferences, and it's very important to remember that the person or the party that runs third is the one who's taken out. At the moment, the Liberal Party will be the one who's taken out of the count. Their preferences will favour the independent, so Mr Hanna will be ahead. 10% of the votes counted. He has to stay in second place to win this seat.
Chris Hanna joins us now. Chris, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm not as confident as Dean Jentzsch might have just suggested. The information from the booths that's available to me now is that nearly half of the vote would be counted, and the primary vote that I've scored ranges from 19% through to 33%. But on balance, my figures are in the high 20s. That's about level with Liberal. One of the most pleasing things is that I'm getting preference flows of about 50% from the Greens and about 30% from Family First, despite those parties recommending to their voters that they not vote for me.
Yes, indeed. You were probably fairly disappointed that you didn't get the Greens directing preferences to you, given that you were, in fact, part of the Greens for a while there.
Well, I knew that I just had to work as hard as I could and try and get 30% of the primary vote. That's what it's all about.
Now, you've said that you need to stay ahead of the Libs on first preferences by around about 1%. And do you think you're going to be able to do that?
Well, at the moment it's virtually neck and neck with the Liberals, so I'm not sure that we will have a result tonight. It is too close to call.
And in terms of the booths that have been counted, the ones that you're hearing from, are they ones where you would expect to do better?
Actually, the booths I've heard from tend to be booths I didn't expect to do as well in. The two categories are the northern end of the electorate, where there's probably a slightly higher Liberal vote, and also at the far south of the electorate, the suburb of Ranella. I've done not very well there, about 20% of the primary vote, but that is an entire suburb which was added to me in the last redistribution. So understandably, they haven't had time to get to know me as well as the people in the rest of the area.
Now, the ALP, and even today, was having a go at you as being soft on crime. Is that something which is bitten in the electorate?
Well, I'm sorry to say that the nasty negative campaigning from the Labor Party probably will have had some effect and lowered my primary vote from those people who haven't thought it through and perhaps operate without knowing much about my style of politics and my contribution to the community. I suppose the complaint that I've put into the Electoral Commission might bear some fruit after the election, but of course what matters now is what's coming out of the ballot box. And
we'll all be keeping an eye on that.
With,
thanks, Chris. We'll have to leave it there. Chris, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks indeed.
Now, we're going to take a fairly substantial run through and you might recall we nominated 7 marginal Labor seats under 7%. And we're going to take a look at all 7 of those seats now and see what story that tells us, because a significant number, if not all of those seats, have to go if the Liberals are going to govern in their own right, and a very significant number of them have to go anyway if it's going to be a hung parliament. So let's start with the seat of Light. This takes in Gawler and the northern Munro Para. It's held by Tony Piccolo for Labor, took it at the last election. We've got 41.2% of the vote counted. This is a margin of 2.1% for Labor.
Most marginal seat in the Labor Party's pantheon. Tony Piccolo is leading 1,200 votes ahead of Cossie Costa, with the Green votes almost certainly favouring the Labor Party. So there is a movement towards the Labor Party. If we look at the swings, you'll see this. Labor at the moment is on 55% of the two-party votes. There's been a 2.7% swing to the Labor Party. And I think this simply emphasises what we've been saying all night. I think Tony Piccolo will be returned, but it's a patchy swing. Down in the western suburbs, there's a massive swing against the Labor Party. Elsewhere, there's a swing to the Labor Party. So there's nothing uniform.
OK. Can we take a look at the seat of Mawson? This is held again by Labor by Leon Bignell on a margin of 2.2%. We've now got 17.4% of the vote counted. How's he looking?
Well, he's looking very comfortable. He's looking a lot better, I think, than he may well have expected to look when the vote counting started. 42% for Leon Bignell for the Labor Party, Matt Donovan 38%, and the Greens polling quite well with 9.2%. Now, what that means, if we look at the swings and the situation in the seat, the Labor Party leading very well indeed, but a surprising 9.5% swing to the Labor Party.
That's extraordinary.
Now, that's an extraordinary result when you compare it to swings against the Labor Party in seats in the immediate area. I think Leon Bignell will be returned to Parliament without any problem.
OK, can we have a look at the seat of Newland now in the northeast? This is held by Tom Kenyon. Sorry, we're going to Norwood. And this is held by Vinnie Ciccarello on a margin of 4%, with 18.1% of the vote counted.
Yes, the seat of Norwood has always been a difficult one for Labor to win. They've tried with some celebrity candidates. They've now tried with a candidate who has very strong Green credentials. Vinnie Ciccarello has campaigned extremely hard in this campaign, but the point is that the Liberal Party is picking up swings in these inner suburban seats, swings which I would not have expected there, but they're picking up massive swings in the western suburbs. Norwood, according to the figures I have, is showing a 10% swing to the Liberal Party. Vinnie Ciccarello held it with a 4% margin only, so on 18% of the votes, it's leaning very heavily towards moving to the Liberal Party and to a win for them there.
OK, well, now let's take a look at the seat of Newland. In the northeast, Tom Kenyon holds it on a margin of 5.2%. We've actually got 44.2% of the vote counted here.
It's getting up to the point where we should be able to say, well, one candidate's going to win and the other won't. Tom Kenyon with 4,300 votes, 44% of the votes. Trish Draper. Now, Trish Draper was a member of the federal parliament, lost her seat, which takes in the area of Newland, and was pre-selected by the Liberal Party to face the state contest. She has 37%. On a two-party preferred vote, however, the Labor Party is leading with 53.6% of the vote. Now, there has been a slight swing to the Liberal Party, but Tom Kenyon is currently leading, and it's going to be a very close race indeed.